evening and welcome back to Second Chance. My name is Philip Jones. It is our 1 year anniversary week here on the Second Chance, March 1st, 2021. We went live with Clarissa Lee. At the time, I was Austin Lee. And we had a great interview, very informative and emotional. And, I still appreciate those two wonderful people for being on day one. Also had an opening prayer from my good friend, Mr. Duncan Trail. Congratulations to him, just got engaged not too long ago, man. I always appreciate that, brother. We've been through a lot together. So straight into it, you know how we do. Getting straight to this wonderful story. Real quick, 1 or 2 sentence thing. Jennifer is definitely a part of this Second Chance family. She's been doing motivational Mondays, which we'll be getting back to soon. And I mean, we conversate a lot on a number of things, and she's doing some great things. So I just wanted her to get her story out. We've all been through something to get to where we are, and our stories are not only unique but important. So definitely wanted to give her this chance to tell that story. So Jennifer, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you. I know it's a little earlier on this side than out there. So, I'll ask you, let people know where you're from, but you can tell that in your story. So I'm gonna turn it over to you. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on this wonderful platform. My name is Jennifer Ford. I go by Seer. That is my artist name, and that is also um, my brand as well. I have a group that's on Facebook currently right now called Seer Spotlight, and a page for that group as well, where I just pretty much highlight a lot of artists, entrepreneurs, different people throughout the city and just abroad, really. I've always been into supporting others, and it was just an idea that came to me just to be able to channel a lot of the things that I would share on my personal page initially, on a different platform. And it just pretty much grew from there and afforded me a lot of great opportunities to connect with different people. Um, I do also have a YouTube channel called Authentically Jen. There's a lot of motivational messages there where you can find a lot of things that helps me to kind of get through a lot of difficult times and stuff like that. And then also messages that were divinely inspired. I am a seer, so I do get a lot of prophetic messages, and I've been that way since I was a child, but I've been able to tap into that gift a lot more as I become an adult and more confident in who I am.
Awesome. Give me 1 second to get this back. So, what made you go into motivational speaking?
What made me really go into motivational speaking was just being in a space where, for one, it's a lot that I didn't have growing up as a child. I didn't get a lot of motivation in just me being, different and just not really understanding a lot about myself throughout my childhood. And so I think that is kind of like what birthed that desire in me, because a lot of the times I would just be so focused on putting that energy out there, and just supporting others because I could identify with that feeling of not really having that. And more recently, with everything that I've been embarking upon, I've been learning to tap into taking that same energy that I would give out and just pouring it into myself. And so it's really, I think, a natural gift for me. And then also, I would say another avenue that kind of, showed me like earlier on in life that that would be something that would be part of my calling was I was a peer mediator in school. And so like that kind of helped me to see like this could be something that I could, use in the future.
So we want you know, keep it on. I just kind of, you know, again wanted to put the light on you for once. So we'll kind of just kind of go down the list of things that you're involved in and touch on. Um, so writer, poet. You know, I'm sure it was something in life because most people don't just start writing poetry. It's not usually the first thing that kind of comes to mind when they're writing. Was it something that happened with in school or anything like that that made you just kind of start feeling that writing mode? Because I have an aunt, she lives in Milan, Italy. Actually, that's what she does for a living is spoken word poetry, singing things of that nature like that. And so she's been doing this for very, very long time, and she's actually awesome at it. So, was it a point in time where it just kind of made you sit down and want to start writing stuff out, or how did that come about?
Well, I was an introvert growing up. So, because I was very sheltered and kind of like in this shell, I didn't really know of how to express myself, most of my life. So, writing was really just my way of just tapping into my voice or finding my voice. I kept a lot of diaries and I just journaled a lot. And then I just remembered we had an assignment or something in like my 10th grade English class. And my teacher, Miss Gregory, at the time, she really inspired me and encouraged me to write more poetry. She was the first person that I remembered that just really said, hey, you have a gift with this. And so I just started to like write from there poetry, and it just became like a creative way for me to express myself.
Awesome, awesome. I've heard different stories of people who got into poetry, and like I said, sometimes it's people bringing them to it that say, "Hey, why don't you continue to do this? You look real good at it." Or they just kind of figure it out for themselves. I mean, there's different ways that you can get into that. So, let's touch a little bit about the voiceover acting. What brought you into that? Was it somebody that put you in? You just did one on your own? Like how did you bring that part into your life?
Um, I've been told quite often that I do have a very beautiful voice and a voice, the type of voice that people will love to listen to. And then outside of that, because for a while I just really didn't really get that. I didn't really hear myself in that type of a way, but I did always have an admiration for people like Cree Summer, who has voiced many characters, and I just thought that that was something that would be really cool to tap into. And then when I started to just kind of branch out doing things where I was using my voice, like with my YouTube channel and other avenues, like with IBD Press, which I'm also affiliated with that platform as well. I posted some stories and stuff like that, just did some reports. And I just started to just really hear myself more. And I'm like, you know what? I can do this. And I just started pushing myself to just believe more in my gifts and just, not limiting myself on what I could do with my voice. So that's kind of like where that started for me.
Okay, okay, okay. Let's get into just acting in general because I know it's two different things. Being an actor and being voiceover are two completely different things. You can walk in voiceover looking like you just stepped out the shower. But when you walk in back, even if it's rehearsal, you got to get up, do your hair, brush your teeth, do this, do that. The minimum for voiceover is like, all right, go make sure you brush those teeth in there and call it a day, right? That's pretty much it. You walk in look like a hobo if you want to. Um, so what big differences do you notice between um voiceover and in person acting? And that can be theater, TV, film, because even all those three are very different. I mean, I'm in other. I've never done voiceover. It's been a thought of mine, but I've never really got into it because I've never known anyone really that's in it like that to even take that opportunity. But I know the difference between film, TV, theater, and those three alone, even though they're all in person, are different itself. So, uh, what differences do you see between being a voiceover actress and an in person actress?
Before I answer that, I need to adjust something with my mic. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, handle your business.
Just one moment.
No. While you do that, Jennifer, I'm gonna go ahead and play this commercial. Take your time. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Um, okay, I see Jennifer. I'm not gonna lie to you. I forgot. Uh,
I remember the question. You
that
were
oh,
trying
that's
to
awesome.
you're trying to sorry. You're trying to find out what the difference would be for me between voice acting and just, acting in person basically, right?
Right, 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 right.
Well, I only really have the one acting role so far that I did
Mhm.
with Tamika Chambliss. And really, with that, I was initially just an extra. I didn't have a script or anything, but she did add like a few lines for me. And so, in that situation, I just really had to kind of like really just not just memorize what I was saying, but kind of get into that character and just, how I want to say it and then act it out physically, like, and because I always told myself I'm not really comfortable being behind the camera and stuff like that. I had to kind of get over that, just being seen, it to me is
Mm.
more so about being more aware of what I'm, physically doing, because I write and I do spoken word and poetry and stuff. Just the verbal part really wasn't a problem for me, except I did have just two takes. I think like I got too excited the first take and everything like that, but then I nailed it the second time. But really, I would say I really love voice acting because you can get into character. You don't have to worry about the physical aspect. But I think some people may discount the fact of how much that actually goes into it, though, because it really just depends on you. But for me, it's just like it's kind of a pull both ways. Like coming out of being in this space where I really didn't want to be in front of the camera. It was kind of like overcoming an obstacle with that. But even with the project that I also did with Tamika, playing Oya, for um, her series that she's doing and everything, the story of Samson, that situation really, was different for me because I really had to tap into something that I haven't even done before, that specific character, and just, pulling out this dynamic kind of, powerful tone, because I'm so like soft spoken. It really was something to channel that. It took me hours really to do that. So like for me, it's just what could be like a quick few minutes and stuff like that, given a couple takes or whatever, like acting and where you're in front of the camera, it can be very taxing, especially using your voice, voice acting. So I don't really know, like for me, like how to just describe like the difference, because it's still a new avenue for me. But I would just say both can kind of have, their challenges. But if you're determined and you're motivated, I say it's kind of like one and the same for me.
Well, what's crazy about what you just said is, even though you said you didn't know, you really do know. Um, and what I mean by that is, you mentioned something that's very important for people to understand. People, a lot of people think when they hear voiceover acting, they think, oh, you just, sitting like we sitting, talking some words
Hmm.
and doing some things. And that's no, some certain things that don't take too much energy. Yeah, you could do sitting down, but
Right,
most of it you have to do standing up. And the reason why that is because even though nobody's watching, you still have technically physical, right? You still
right,
have
you
to
do.
act these things out as you're doing them to give that realness to that voice, right? So, um, if if you are just out in the streets and you playing around with the homies and acting like you throwing a punch or something like that, you can't just go pow. Like you gotta make it seem like how you would do it in real life. And so that's the same thing with in-person acting. You have to be, physical and moving and things of that nature. And it's crazy about being, when you're that background person is, uh, especially when I know a lot of people think, I'm just back here, can't nobody really see me. No, people pay attention to people back there, and they notice it. It is actually um, what actually turned me into a much better actor now than I was 4 or 5 years ago. Because when I first came in uh, into theater, it was like they brought me straight in with no problems because they knew my background nature, but they also had never seen me do it before, which can cause questions. So, I was in the very beginning, was in a lot of background stuff. And then over time, as I started getting lines and things like, they started to notice what I can do. but it was the background stuff uh, that made me into that because I remember one of those like first rehearsals after we after we did our group stuff because we always start off a new or whatever we're going over with group stuff and learn how to gel with each other and mesh and stuff like that. So our first original meeting with going over script, I got yelled at like five times, and he he gives it what he calls the mad gay face, and it's kind of easy to understand that name, but and I remember I was just sitting there, I'm like, how are you even seeing me back here? And then we talked, and he's like, everybody can see you. He's like, you're not just because you're back there doesn't mean people don't pay attention to what you're doing. It's the reason why you're still being seen because you're still a part of the picture. So people are going to see you. So it's definitely, you have to play those background roles like those major, big time roles when front and center, and you think that's what everybody's looking at. Now, I don't know if you ever really watch reaction channels. It's a lot of people react. Most of the stuff is in the background.
Right.
They'll notice what the main actors are doing, but then the stuff that they're laughing at and noticing is stuff like in the background. Like and it's the funniest thing sometimes, but definitely appreciate. So you do know that there's some things out there that are the same. Some are different. And over time as you go through this journey, you'll start these things will start to click for you. And turn into greatness. So let's jump into Seer Spotlight. What brought that about?
Well, what really brought that about was my business partner that I work with IVD Press. Fahara, he actually built that platform with a similar kind of formula, and it's just, sharing content. And one of the things that he told me was just the power that comes from sharing. And so many times, we have people in our lives that are, business owners or vice versa. And, you may not be able to patronize or buy stuff all the time, but one thing that is free, it doesn't cost anything to do, is to share. And so when I started to do that a lot more before Seer Spotlight came about, I noticed how impactful it was. And so I just had the idea that came to me, to create this platform because, like I mentioned before, on my personal page, it was just flooded with like content, other people's content, where I would kind of get lost in the shuffle, with the way things are with the algorithm. You really wouldn't get to see more of like me. So at first, I just kind of wanted to separate it, but then also, I just was like, let me walk, out on faith or step out on faith with this idea because I didn't really know what was going to come from it. And as soon as I created the group and I just started it, it just grew legs from there. And then it also is a platform for networking. So it's not just me marketing or just, sharing stuff like just advertising, businesses and different people, that are involved within the community and vice versa, or artists. But it's just an opportunity as well for those creatives to come together, and people that didn't already, know of, other people's, I guess, gifts or whatever they have going on. They get to see other people, what they have going on, and to share. And it's very intimate too, since it's like currently right now 228 members in the actual group, and it's steadily growing on the page itself. It gives the opportunity for you to like be able to see more, instead of like what you normally would see down the timeline with other people. So it gives the opportunity for others to connect, and then to also do the same thing, to share and support. I really just wanted to build a community. and something that's positive that we can focus on, because it's like so much going on. And I forgot to mention, I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. Should have said that in my intro. I got so excited. So, like, here in Memphis, recently, not too long ago, we lost Young Dolph due to violence. We recently lost Snooty Wild, who's born and raised in Memphis. And when I see stuff like that, it encourages and motivates me more to continue doing what I'm doing, because it's like so many times we have the negative stuff that's out there. And I just feel like, this gives people, something positive to focus on. And so even with, your platform as well, and just sharing, like, a lot of people had no clue about a second chance. And so I just love to be able to be the light.
Yeah, we kind of had the same thought process with this. I mean, at an earlier age, understood the importance of people sharing their story, and where I kind of got that understanding was 2008 when I went to the transplant games in Pittsburgh, and I when I say heard probably about a good thousand stories in that one week I was out there. It was just like it was amazing because, like I mentioned before, I mentioned last night, I grew up with kidney failure without knowing anyone else with it. So I had never heard anyone else's story, what they've gone through or anything like that until 2008. And when I got there and I'm, talking to these people and getting these stories and things like that, and I'm just like, I was stuck. I mean, I'm, 18 years old, in another state, number one. I'm just sitting there with all these people who've had, transplant like myself, or supporters of transplant patients, or donors, or family donors. And a family donor is a family of someone who passed that donated their organs to someone. So it's a big thing. That's when I realized the story aspect of it. Uh, don't ask me why it took 13 years for me to realize that people need to hear these stories. Um, and not really the same thing, but March 12th. So 2020, end of 2020. I remember I was sitting here and I'm like, what more can I do to help really? And not even just help transplant patients, but just help in general, right? And I realized the importance of stories and how they can be informative. People don't understand that stories can be uh, so much information for one person, right? Because you may tell your story and like, yeah, I went through this avenue, I went through that, I talked to this person, I talked to that person. And those people who going through what you're going through may have never thought of going the way that you went. And could be definitely the way that they needed to go to get out the situation that they're in, or help a person get out the situation they're in. So people's story is just as important as going on the internet looking for information, which is kind of where I got to 2020. That's when I started thinking, podcasts, YouTube, whatever. And it took me forever to come up with this name, because it's true, stories are important. But now I have to think, what kind of stories do I want to put out there? Whose stories do I want to spotlight and bring to the forefront, people to see and hear? And then I realized that I've never been that person that's just so just transplant names kind of went out the window for me. Um, and that's when I realized, okay, well, I think I want to help everybody. So I'm thinking all these names, thinking all these names, thinking all these names. And it came down to the fact of asking myself, what does all this mean? When you try to think of a name like that, you try to think how does it connect to what you're purveying and what you're putting out there as content. Whether it's a show, reaction show, anything like that. Like how do your name has to connect to that. Because if I'm somebody looking for a kidney show, but your name has something that's connected to a heart transplant, you're like, well, this doesn't even match. Or it's a bunch of ways that can go. So um, I realized that it meant people getting that second chance, and it doesn't matter whether it's transplant, cancer, lupus, uh, dealing with strokes or things like that, right? It's all once you're able to bounce back from that, it all becomes a second chance at life because you never know exactly which way it went for you. Um, had it gone the wrong way, if it went the wrong way, there's no telling you, man. Here, if it went the wrong way, you never know. You could be paralyzed. If it goes the wrong way, you never know. You may lose your house. It's so many different things that happen, but you are able to keep going by being given a second chance. And so that came to mind. I ran with it immediately. I wasted no time. I remember I texted my aunt as soon as I thought it was like 7 o'clock at night on this end, and I texted her. I'm like, "Hey, I'm doing the show called A Second Chance. I need to look." She does all that graphic design stuff, so that's what I went to. I started knowing how to do the stuff myself, and within some hours, let you know how bad this woman is. Within some hours, she sent me 3 different logos, and it wasn't like those simple just words type thing. Like you've seen some things where it's just the name of the show, placed strategically or something like that, right? No,
Right.
these things, the logo I have, and then that one's nowhere near as colorful as the other two. The other two has so much color too, it's ridiculous. And I'm like, where did what did you drink a Red Bull and 8 monsters or something and go to work? What happened? Like this was hours later. Like not like I'm thinking it's gonna take a day at the least. Maybe a couple of days or something like that because she's involved in so much other things. Her own nonprofit. She's a pastor's wife, so she has a lot of things she's doing in the church and things of that nature. So, um, I'm definitely not expecting nothing. But then all of a sudden, I was like, all right, that was quick. So, but yeah, stories are 100% important, and I drug that out more or less just for time, really. But um, it's stories are important and they need to be told, and so that's why what's crazy is that um, some of these people that have been on my show, yeah, they told their story before, probably told their story a billion times, probably been in the newspaper, on TV, all that type of stuff, right? But what I find is important is the stories that haven't been told. The ones that have not been told are just as important as the ones that have been told. And so that's what I really try to make sure for sure that we doing is to get people's story who haven't been told because those are just as important. It's a story. As long as it's something behind it, it's a story. It's important. People need to hear it. Again, because you never know what your story can do for someone else. Whether it's physical aspect, mental aspect, emotional, whatever the case may be. Is each story is unique and important. Somebody needs to hear it.
Absolutely.
But so we'll end on this real um short note. I won't have you go. So I know it's a little bit longer than what I expected to go, but um I know your mom, um and I know you're a good person, so I'm not worried about that. but how much joy does that bring to your life?
Well, being a mom is definitely a job, and it's definitely one that I'm grateful for. Actually, when I became a mother, my life totally changed. I know that sounds very cliche, but I've been a single mom for um, some years now, and it's been since 2014. And so I had two different experiences from the time I had my daughter from like when I had my son. And so, like, even with her, I named them with intention. So her name is Genesis. And when I was looking up names and stuff like that, I just saw Genesis, a new beginning. And for me, that's just what that became, a totally new beginning. And so it's actually given me the motivation that I did not have for myself at all to, strive to do things that I didn't think were possible. And it's caused me to have to, like, you know, really be more disciplined in certain areas where I struggled. And I still have, my times, but it's one of the most fulfilling things in my life. And I believe it's part of my calling as well to be a mother. And so, I'm very grateful for Genesis and Jaden. Actually, my son turns 5 tomorrow.
Hey, happy birthday!
Thank
We gonna have
you.
a party everywhere on here on the second chance out there. We just gonna get down. No,
I'm
that's
definitely
that's
looking forward to it.
that's great. That's great. That I see having children as a blessing, really. Just kind of because of the same reasons you just said. It could be a new beginning for you. I mean, I've known a number of women I went to high school with that all they did was get in trouble in school. Like every time I looked up, they was with security going to the office. I'm like, y'all don't get tired of this, But then came mom, things changed. I don't know if that's what it was that made them, see the light and see where they needed to change in their life, or even though so much of the fact that, what's crazy is that people go through life as adolescents and stuff and don't even realize really how bad they're messing up, right? Um, or acting out or whatever the case may be. And it takes for them to realize, I have to take care of another person. I need to change. It's that those 9 months for you to sit there and go through. I think they say 10 now. I don't know. That you as a child or a young adult did things you probably should have been doing. But the one thing that needs to be known is that you can't do it no more. This ain't going out all the time, clubbing time, or going shopping 24/7. Nothing wrong with doing those things periodically. I never want people to think that I'm saying that just because you have a child, you have to stop your life. No, you know, I know a bunch of grandparents that don't mind watching their kid because they daughter or son or whoever the case may be, wants to go out for a sec just to get some relief. You need that release sometimes, which is understandable. So I'm not telling you just stop doing it. I'm saying at this point, now you have responsibilities to take care of, with that child. And again, it could change a lot of things for you, you know, but it could also make you understand and make you a better. I've never had a child. I'm not, go say it like I'm speaking from experience, but I've been attached to a lot of people uh, who have. I now have a godson, and I also have a niece. My niece is with 3 now, and but the thing about my godson is that there were 4 before him that passed away. So my my best friend, as a mother, had to deal with the loss of 4 children. Um, and I felt like July 16th of 2021 for me, it felt like I had a kid because I've seen her have to go from happy to not even sad. Sad's not even the word that I really can use. I guess you could say exhausted, out of mind, you know, uh, because I've gotten that call 4 times, didn't make it, didn't make it, passed away. And I'm like, and then I think what this is because before time, she did name me Godfather. Of course, she didn't come to me till after. I'm not gonna lie to you. You went through these four, and then you didn't ask me for this one. But at the same time, I'm like, yo, that's selfish. You know, and then like a week or a couple of days later, she sent me something. I'm like, don't have me over here stressing like this. But all I can say in that sense, again, like I said, I've never had children of my own. I just take care of my niece and my godson like they are my own. I love them to death. It's the reason why I continue fighting every day. At this point, of course, my family has already been here as well, but I'm building a brand and things of that nature for them. So when they get to 18, they don't have to struggle with learning how to write a check or balance their account or the credit score, the things of that nature. You need to understand that you don't wait till a kid turns 18 to teach them this stuff. You teach them this stuff 12, 13 years old. Hey, come in the bank with me. Show you how to write this check. Before my aunt passed away, that's all she did was set me up for success. We'd be in the store. Hey, you need to learn how to read these labels on this food, so you're not getting the wrong things and things that you understand just how small something like reading a label helped me. I'm a transplant patient. There's certain things I can't eat, but because she taught me that small gem, it helped me out through my life. And she did that early, early, early. Even though she was the one that loved eating donuts and drinking Pepsi, it just is what it is. Um, but I love that woman to death, and I didn't get to say goodbye with her more because I was in the hospital myself at the time. But you know, uh, let's just kind of step in the space of being influenced in general, right? You don't have to be a parent to that. It's just taking the time to care, really. And the thing that people need to understand is you don't do it. And let me see if I can phrase this correctly. Um, I don't want to say behind the parents' back, but two ways you can go about this. Literally just in front of that parent's face and say, hey, just wanted to tell you blah, 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 blah. Or you come to your parents and say, hey, just want to let you know, I just want to tell you your son or your daughter this or that, or do you mind telling them, things of that nature. I give you a real quick example, then we done, we off, now you got things to do. Um, I was on LinkedIn yesterday, Sunday night, and a guy posted a video of his daughter selling Girl Scout cookies. She's in the Girl Scouts, it's Girl Scout cookie time and things, and she was, she did a very professional thing. She made like a basically like a little commercial type thing where she's sitting there talking about her Girl Scouts and the cookies and things of that nature. And I just wanted to throw. It wasn't one of those situations where you got to try to put them on blast. I sent them a message. I said, "Hey, sir, how you doing? So Jones, I've been, transportation, also in theater, whatever." I said, I just want to throw something at you to help your daughter. When she's speaking, have her look into the camera. Most of the time, it's okay to get your product and things of that nature, but it's just as important to look into the camera when you're doing videos like this as it is into looking in someone's eyes if you're in person. And so times like that is okay to help someone out. Again, it's not the one issue that we have as outside people. When I say outside, I mean non-parents of that particular child. is that you think because you're an adult you can say anything or do anything any kind of way, and that's not true. There are ways that you come to people's children. Again, like I said, you either go to the parent, or if you family, another parent or whatever, you ain't gotta put them out on blast. Certain times, yeah, the blast part make maybe you need it. Maybe doing something super stupid. You need to say something now, not wait. So I get those times, but learn how to talk to kids. You think because you're an adult that you can just yap and talk how you need to talk? That ain't true. And I'm not talking to parents. Parents do what you want to do with your kids. I'm 100% about that. My dad, my mom have beat me senseless a number of times as a kid, right? But I am appreciative of those beatings. I wasn't then, but that shit hurt. I was not. I was very upset when I got a whooping. Very upset. Now, as an adult, I understand those reasons because without whoopings, even I'm gonna be honest with you, even time out helps, right? Because special places, I don't know about it. But even timeouts, you spend 3 hours in the corner, you're gonna contemplate the next time you decide to do something stupid. This ain't time out like sitting 5 minutes. I'm like, I could do 5 minutes and time out in no time. You know, man, my stepdad used to make me sit in the corner hours on hours. I used to watch my brother and my sister sit in the corner hours on hours. Can we move? No, look at the corner. And you start contemplating when you want to do something stupid again. So that was just something. Not just I'm not a parent, so I can't necessarily talk to parents, but I can talk to the rest of you surrounding pieces for sure. I've been there literally all my life, all cousins and all that. Yeah, so we need to get in a better space that way and be more helpful than one to complain or just do things ourselves. As outside pieces to family. It takes a village to raise a kid, and that's true. Um, so again, Jennifer, greatly appreciate your time to come on and tell the story. Um, I definitely know that was not the whole thing, so we definitely will come back to it. It takes some time to kind of want to come out with the whole thing or even more of it. I understand I was that shy person too at one point where I didn't want to tell the whole thing, and I just had to kind of come to terms with this is just my story. It makes it interesting, and unique because of what it is. So, we'll come back. Like I told you, bring you back either in this capacity or a panel, the case may be. But outside of that, I'm working to definitely for sure get back with Motivation Monday. She will be the face that you see. If it's her and myself, just her, well, but it is coming back, trying to fine tune a lot of pieces um, that are, that and a number of other things within this brand. So work with me. Please give me some time. Be patient. And we definitely will be back with these things in a bigger way, really. So that's the other thing. I don't want to just come back the same thing. I want to be better than it was and be able to touch people. So we will definitely be bringing that back to you. 1 year has been a great year. I appreciate everybody's love and support. Whether you share the flyer, comment, join the lives, go back and watch replays. Been here since day one. You're all family, and we appreciate you. Myself, Mr. Cook, he'll be back tomorrow. Jennifer, I call it a family because that's what it is. We don't work together; it doesn't get done. So, um, again, we'll be back tomorrow with our women's panel. Um, women's panel tomorrow is gonna be great. I'm actually looking forward to this extremely. So, and then we have Alex Rosa coming on with a, I guess you could say presentation slash teaching. She's a teacher, so she always teaching. Friday, what I'll do is I'll announce the rest of our awards. I announced two yesterday. Um, the Harris Jones Family Awards went to the Cook family and the Trailer family. Um, Jonathan Trailer and Farrell Cook I just collaborated on another conference last Friday that turned out wonderful. And if you could see what I see, it's the reason why I picked it the way I did was because their families are beyond supportive. I see certain things you guys don't see when it comes to the Cook family, but if you got Jonathan on Facebook, you already know what I'm talking about. You already, I mean, already know what I'm talking about. So, again, Jennifer, thank you very much for your time. Second Chance definitely appreciate you. Mr. Brown, appreciate you joining us, sir. I know you probably kind of popped in a little late, but it's all good. My brother was here earlier, and he popped in as well. Those are definitely two gentlemen I can say thank you to for sure that have been very supportive of what we do on a second chance or with a second chance, whether it's shows or anything else. So, um, you know, uh, Jeff is in. If I get this right, I believe Jeff is in Abu Dhabi. Jared is in, I believe, Utah area or Colorado, one of those cold places that I don't need to go to. So we appreciate them. Bella Langston, thank you. Trish Phillips, thank you. Shirley Brill, thank you. Again, Mr. Cook, Mr. Trailer, thank you. It's some people. Yeah. I'm not done thanking people. I'm thanking people of the week. So don't get mad if you watch this now. Like you say my name, yeah. Watch one of these next 3 days, and your name's gonna pop up somewhere. So again, thank you. Appreciate you all. Have a great night. Again, Jennifer, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we are
Thank you.
again, like I said, we're definitely bringing it back. Motivational Mondays. Gotta figure out some things, find some things, make sure it's right, and we're gonna make it rock. So have a great night, and we'll see you all tomorrow.